I got to let Robert I mean, when you saw it, Robert, did you just go, whoa? What was your response?
My response was, number one, that the ARBs were kind of right here. I mean, we've seen this spread, as Andrew and I have been talking about over the past week, we've seen this spread widen beyond the normal M&A parameters. It was more than 10%. It widened even more this week after Elon said at that FT conference that this was, quote, far from a done deal. And then the second thing is, whatever his intentions were, and you're right, I don't even know if he knew what his intentions were going into this, he walks away with two big personal financial benefits. One, he has this $8.5 billion of Tesla cash that after selling those shares in April for this deal, many people saw that as a sign that he was going to go through with this, but he does still have that cash. Even if he pays this $1 billion breakup fee, that means he has $7.4 billion in cash. Maybe he can now buy a house finally in Texas. But the other big thing people haven't realized is that he may walk away with a big tax benefit here if this deal doesn't close, and that's because the shares he sold last month were likely the same shares that he bought last year as part of that options exercise. He bought those at around $1,000 a share. He sold them at around $833. So he could have a capital loss of over $1 billion as a result of those sales that he could use against any future capital gains. So he walks away with $7.5 billion in cash and a big tax benefit.
You have to offset it against, and how many years do you have to offset against capital gains?
A gain.
You have to offset
again. I'm not sure what the limit is. There are lots of limits against income, and it's only $3,000. But against a gain, you can carry those forward for a long time. And he could easily have a gain in SpaceX and any of his other ventures, or even just selling more shares.
Dan, the temporarily. Did he need that word? Do you believe that it's temporarily?
I mean, I believe that if this is really his excuse for trying to walk away, it's a really lazy excuse. You know, as Robert said, people have been expecting, for a couple of weeks. A lot of people haven't thought this would go through, in part because he overpaid, in part because of the issues with Tesla stock. And by the way, we also don't know with Elon, for example, how much Bitcoin he owns. In other words, how much money outside of stock that we know about has he really lost, or value has he lost in the last couple of weeks? But this temporarily thing, as you said, it was a tweet from May 2nd. This is an old story. I mean, this is supposed to be what due diligence is about. This is usually the reason why you don't buy a company or agree to buy a company in 11 days without talking to management. This is, as I said, it is lazy. If you really wanted to know the math behind this, he has agreed to buy the company. He knows the board. He could have called them. He could have asked for the math, gotten it, looked at it, and then made a determination. Didn't need to do it publicly.